Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Can anybody hear me? Hey, I am the one. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. I'm going to wait a couple of more minutes to see if anybody else come in here. Cha. And I named this video, Ooh, cha. 5 days until Easter. Are you going to church? Huh? And we are going to get to that a little later. But I just wanted to give you the heads up, kinda. One of the subjects of this video. um, so let me do a couple of more. Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Y'all come on in here. Come on in here. Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Y'all come on in here. Y'all come on in here. Ooh, cha. Ooh, cha. Y'all come on in here. Now I'm getting ready to start. Okay? Let me pull my little bitty notepad up and let's get to cooking. Okay? Like we cook at Easter dinner. The first thing I want to talk about is there's a YouTuber, and his name is Walter Hampton. He's been a YouTuber for a long, long time. He's not in the beef sector at all, period. But he's this guy that lift weights and stuff. He got, a bodybuilder body, and he's gay. Well, he have a person that he has been involved with for years and years and years. Well, he passed, and he passed on the 10th, and I really did hate to hear that. But Walter's birthday was the 9th, so they did get to spend his birthday together. He said that Earl died in his arms, and he's very sad. And another thing, like when I watched the video today, because I didn't know he had passed, when I watched the video today, like when my sister passed, her dogs, they cried and they cried and they cried and they cried and they cried. Okay? And that's what those dogs were doing. They were so upset. And Earl died on the 10th, so today is the 16th. And that's a lot of days for them to be crying like that. But hopefully, well, it will get better for the pets, because he had two, just like my sister. But I'm telling you, honey, they grieve like we do. They could tell. And I just wanted to share that a little bit with you guys. Um, Now I'm getting ready to start in the beef sector because this is what I woke up to this morning. And then like the last time I was live, I had been on for like 2 hours. and the live got disconnected. I don't know what happened. So I still got notes. I erased some of those notes that I knew I went over, but then I hadn't finished my notes because I hadn't been live in some days. So, you know, it could be a 2 hour live, easy, or more. And so I apologize for not knowing, that I had, that my video had stopped, but we'll make up for it today. Now, child, when I got up this morning, I seen Rodney had like a weird, um, I can't remember what the video title was. It was like, what was that? Or something like to that effect. He was like puzzled. So when I opened the live, he was talking about Pastor removing his mod stick. Okay. So I just stopped watching right then and I ran over there to Pastor's to see what the hell happened. Okay. Rodney, like we always say in the beef sector, anybody can get it. Okay. And then like it seems like the people are piling on like one person. That happens. Okay, especially when a new content creator. They're gonna see how tough you are. That's all it is. And Rodney's got to show he's tougher because he's got people after him right now. Okay, well, today when Jay Wilson was live, he was talking about different things. But hey, I knew this shit was coming. Though. I knew it. But I'll talk about that later on too. But the pastor was live, and he was just talking about a little bit of this and a little bit of that, different things that was going on in the beef sector. And let me get that part up so I can tell y'all what had happened was. Just a second. Okay. Now, Pastor had been live for a while, and Ness was in the chat messing with him, saying smart stuff, trolling him, okay, and so many words trolling him. Where he was answering her back, and then she was type something else smart to him, and he say something to her, and it was going back and forth like that. Well, then Rodney dropped in the chat, and he was a mod. So he was modding, and he was telling people that it was like, like going over the edge almost on what they were doing in the chat, concerning how they was talking to each other and all of that. So what Rodney put in the chat, to be respectful in the chat, so I don't have to time you out, just be respectful. There's nothing wrong with like dragging each other, but don't get too out of hand. That's what he was saying in the chat. And so like King Kong Tussle, he was up there. I think Mama D was up there, and it was Jay Wilson. Every time Queen Tussle or Mama D tried to talk, Pastor was wanting them to hush because I feel like talking, And as the channel holder, when you say hush, people should hush, okay? Well, every time he would like do a little pause, then Mama D or Queen Tussle would try to get their little 2 cents in. He would say, "Nah, I ain't through talking." Well, finally, Queen Tussle got in there because she's 100. She gonna wiggle her ass in there. Well, he gonna wiggle his ass in there, and he's very messy. He causes a lot of confusion on different panels by running his dick suckers. Well, he said, "Pastor, did you see what Rodney put in the chat?" And Pastor was like, "Nah." And so he read this. I'm gonna tell you kind of what he was saying. So I told you guys that Rodney had said be respectful in the chat, so I don't have to time you out or anything. Well, When Tulsa read it, which I didn't know that it was some comments below that one that Rodney had did. And on one of them, he was saying, be respectful. Don't be disrespectful. Not going to be tolerated. And then Tulsa said, wait. I got it down. Well, yeah, my notes all mixed up, okay? But he didn't put the part on there like in the chat, okay? So Tulsa, that part wasn't put on there. And when he said that, y'all, Pastor went off like a goddamn rocket. He was telling right now, I'm gonna take your my stick, and I wasn't being disrespectful to you, and if you don't like it, go. And it was bad. And then he kept telling Vivian, and Vivian is like his right hand man. He was telling her to block him. Take his mod stick. Take Vivian, take his mod stick. He was saying that over and over and over. And he wait a minute. He told him that he not pizza, that he didn't need Rodney, or he didn't need him for or his acceptance. He was saying, I don't need you. And he said, I am very talented. And he said, I can do what the hell I want. And he said that he wasn't, you know, he in so many words, he was just saying he was sick of Rodney. He was like fed up with him. And it was really ugly. Let me see what else he said. And then he was dragging Ness also. And like I said, Ness was in the chat. I'm gonna say dragging because that's what we call it over here. We don't call it troll. Ness was dragging Pastor, and Pastor was on the chat panel dragging Ness, and then he got hold to Rodney. And then when he started saying he was gonna take Rodney's mod stick, then Ness started laughing. She thought that was so funny. She was doing the laughing emojis in the chat. And he said that he didn't have no problem with Rodney. He was like saying, I ain't gonna have no problem with you, man. But it's just time that I don't want you as my mod anymore. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you. Okay, this is what that I have been observing for a couple of weeks over at Pastors. He been saying stuff about, no, Rodney still got his mod stick, and no, I ain't unmodded him. I was saying, oh shit, but I didn't say nothing. And he was making it seem like people were contacting him, telling him to take Rodney's mod stick. And he wasn't going to do that to him. Well, that's happened a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Another thing that happened a couple of days ago, I think it was Sunday, Rodney was live, and a lot of people was over there, including Pastor. He had dropped in the chat. And so Rodney asked the pastor to hit the link. And Pastor said he couldn't hit the link because he was driving. Well, Rodney said, well, I'm just going to say what I got to say. And Rodney, because there's been a rumor out, because I didn't see Pastor when he did the live. Now, the rumor out on the YouTube street is that Pastor said he wasn't going to be discussing anything B-sect anymore. He wanted to move on to other things. Okay? I didn't want. I guess he didn't want no dragging, and he didn't want to know none of the gossip that we be talking on in the beef sec. He didn't want none of that bullshit. Okay, now that's what. And then now, the first time I heard anything, uh, is that I was, when the chat that I went in, the first time I heard that Pastor was not going to be doing beef sect anymore. When I went in the chat, the person was doing commentary on it, and they said that he's leaving the beef sector again because he do this like every so often. He's going to greener pastures. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to be messing no more. I want to do something better. Okay? And we've had other people from the beef sector do it. Sean Bradley, he quit, but then he'll be right back because he's in the clouds. You know what I'm saying? Several people. And then, they ran right back up and they right back in the mess doing the same thing that we've been doing ever since the beef sector started, before the beef sector started. Gossiping and dragging. That's all we do. Okay? Well, Rodney said, I thought you weren't going to do beef sector stuff no more and blase this and blase that. And I was saying, oh, shit. Rodney, he going to get you. He ain't, because he don't like to be questioned like that. Okay, and Rodney Lab went on, and Sunday it went on, but in my mind, I'm saying he gonna get you, which I already knew he was gonna wind up taking his mind stick 2 weeks ago because he kept saying I don't think he knew how to say it to him, and so Heidi Fly, which was one of Pastor's good Judy's on YouTube, she went off on Pastor the other day. They said she did a 10-hour live. I have not seen it. But they say she drug him out the church, through the woods, down the deep hole of hell. Do you hear me? She talked everything that she didn't like about him. She talked about. Okay, about his breath stinking, about him being selfish, about he don't think about nobody but his goddamn self. I've been there for you. I promoted different things for you. You have promoted shit for me, and I'm sick of you. You didn't give me nothing for my goddamn birthday. You didn't give me no motherfucking call. And it was everything that she thought she could say, but she hasn't been live since that live, and she have been dragging him. That's what the streets saying, and I believe the streets because I'm hearing it from content creators who've been content creators for a long time. Okay. Including Tracy, Fabe, King Roman, Olivia, the OGs. Well, honey, Pastor, when he went live after everybody knew that Hattie had drugged him all day, he waited. And then he finally went live and he was acting like he didn't know what the hell was going on. And I heard this and I heard that. I'm not going to drag her. I'm just gonna let this shit let it go and all that kind of bullshit. Because if he was all sitting up waiting for him to drag, like she drug him, at least hit her. You ain't got to knock her out, but swat her a little bit. He did, honey. He went backpedal. Okay, well then here come Rodney with that shit about him supposed to be quitting YouTube, and now I see you still doing you beef sector bullshitting. And so I knew that, I knew he was gonna get rid of Rodney because see he didn't get Heidi, so he got the next best thing was Rodney because Rodney is easy going and that's why people drag him because he'll ask you the wrong thing at the wrong time, or either he'll do like he did Pastor. Say the wrong thing, even though he did say he wasn't going to do the beef sector anymore. Hell, everybody over here in the beef sector knew that he telling a lie. But Rodney, you ain't been beef sector long enough. You didn't know he lie like this every so often. A couple of times a year. But see, when you knew, you need to shut the hell up and listen and observe. And that'll keep you out of trouble. Okay. Hey, Spill It Girl TV. But yeah, honey, Rodney, honey, he was, and then he laughs like a lot of time. I think it might be a nervous laugh. You know how some people say something and they laugh. I think it's like a nervous laugh. I don't. I'm hoping it's a nervous laugh. You know, I'm gonna keep saying that because if you just like laughing at somebody's face about something that they really ain't want to hear, you gonna keep getting cussed out, Rodney. Damn, it is what it is. I told you I've done videos that said, hey, you need to just observe. Don't be asking all these goddamn questions and giving you opinions about shit that happened before you got here because you do not actually know. And I'm saying this to anybody, go to any sector. Keep your nose out of shit that don't concern you until you know what the fuck going on. You know, observe. You ain't got to jump on the panel every time, and you know, you ain't got to do that. Or either have somebody that you cool with, like Rodney's cool with Ness. Ness been here for a long time. He could ask her a lot of them questions that he be asking the wrong people out here in the streets. And see, that's why he getting dog. Well, I ain't gonna say dog pal. I'm just saying it's his turn now. They trying to see how tough he is. And it happens in all the sectors. It's not just the beef sector. And don't never let nobody tell you that. Observe when you go to other sectors, you'll see the same activity. It seems like everybody want to get this person. But see, you don't know what this person has said to people out here in the streets. Very seldom do a person get somebody out here that ain't never did nothing to them. They might have did something 2 years ago, but I just let your ass slide all this time. But now you overstep your bounds today, and it'd be hammer time. I've done it. You know, that's why I started a channel because I got tired of bullshit that was being done to me out in the street. And like I said, I've been here for the beef sector being made, and I'm still dealing with some of these fools. No, that don't happen no more. That's why I started a channel because I got pissed off, and then I didn't want to burden nobody on their channel, no other content creator as a subscriber. I didn't want to keep having to get up on like Tracy panel and say something. But I had panels that I could get on and express myself with no problem. But like I said, I think like as long as I've been on here, I didn't feel good about doing that on different one panel. Okay. So I said, well, I'm gonna nip this shit in the goddamn bud. And I got pissed off, and I hit that goddamn link. And I'm gonna tell you something else. I feel so much better. I ain't getting fucked with like I was. You know what I'm saying? Because these bitches know I cuss the fuck out of them. Okay? And I'll come right over here and do it. So I ain't no punching bag no more. I don't get rolled down on no more. Okay? And it is what it is. Okay? Hey, Lexi. Hey, Daquan. But yeah, child. So let me get to Rodney's live and tell y'all what Rodney was saying concerning the pastor doing what he did. Okay. Wait a minute. But another thing too with the pastor and Rodney and Ness situation, see Ness and pastor been into it for a long time, but a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what she did for him. For some reason, he was cool with her. Okay? He was saying she wasn't so bad after all. Well, then y'all remember when I told y'all how pastor went over the Nesses and cussed everybody out? You know, he cussed, he told that goddamn panel up. Do you hear me? Well, he's been bragging about that and saying Yeah, you didn't put me off your panel. I did what I did. I cussed all y'all out, and then I left at my own leisure, and this and that. And I wore my nice hat over there, and I thought I was looking good. And I told all y'all off, and I left. And he was talking that kind of bullshit ever since then. Which I was talking that bullshit about him too. I was saying, God damn, I can't believe that's let him get away with that. Well, Ness been on his ass ever since that happened. And so Pastor told, I bet you won't bring your ass over here. You ain't gonna sit up over on my panel and act like that. And he just rubbed it out in his face. And then Rodney has always said that he's not gonna turn against Ness. No matter who I get into it out here in the streets, I'm gonna pick Ness over you. And he's very clear about that. But see, that's going against Pastor. And Pastor kept him around longer than I thought he would, because him and Ness been into it for a long time. Well, Rodney, he was like, he hit Pastor panel and was trying to tell Pastor there was a misunderstanding. You misread what I wrote. And Pastor said, oh no, it ain't nope. I don't want you rhyming no more. Nope. He was doing all that. He didn't want to hear shit. And then, like I say, how Tulsa kept interrupting the pastor when he was talking or doing his commentary. Quiet as a goddamn church mouse, because she knows she got that bullshit going between Pastor and Rodney. Quiet as a goddamn church mouse. Okay, and so Pastor didn't want to hear nothing that Rodney said because he was talking that shit, child. And then he like dismissed Rodney. So Rodney left. And see, Rodney, he couldn't have talked to me like that. I would have cussed that nigga out. He would have to just drop me. But see, you got to kiss some balls, Rodney. That was the perfect opportunity for you to say what the fuck you wanted to say. Or let that man throw you off his stage, because that would have been what I did. Well, Rodney went live, and he was discombobulated. He was so confused. He was saying, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. I ain't been abusing my rod stick. I ain't been abusing the chat. What did I do? He just kept saying that over and over and over. He was discombobulated. He didn't know what the hell was. He was like, oh, like that child. And I was saying, damn, Rodney. And I'm not gonna drag it. I'm not gonna drag it. And saying shit like that. And I was saying, if you gonna get him, nigga, now's the time to get him. You didn't get him when you could have got him on the panel, and now you're on your panel, and you still ain't gonna get him. Well, Ness hit the panel, and she just let him know, hey, you should have cussed his ass out. You over here now, and you ain't cussing him out. She wanted to know what the hell was wrong with it. And another thing, Rodney, Ness is not gonna keep you around. I'm just telling you for your own goddamn good. Ness is not gonna keep you around much longer, I don't believe. Because you pissed her off the other day too, Rodney. You busted her out, Rodney. After she timed Mother out, and then you asked her, you got on her panel and say, hey, didn't you say that you weren't going to time him out or block him? But you timed him out. And she said, no, I didn't say that. He was saying, oh, yeah, I think you did. I'm going to have to go listen back to that. And if I find it, I'm putting it on my computer while what the timestamp. She said, okay, sure. But I know that hoe didn't like that shit, okay? That swamp don't get in like that at all. Just like Jay Wilson didn't like it at all when you say he was going to leave the beefing sector. Now you got Ness. Did her like that concerning James Caldwell. And she was telling you that it felt like that you were on James' side and you was against her because you bought that. She said she wasn't gonna time you out. She said that, but she was gonna drag you, James. She wasn't gonna block you or time you out. But she went over there too. And that's when you was saying, no, you did say it. She did say it because I heard her say it. I read about through that live and I happened to hear that. But hell, now I could have said it to Nancy, and she probably would have cussed me out, but with you, y'all should have talked about that backstage where y'all, because y'all talk on the phone anyway. It seemed like it that by doing it like that, it's like you busting her out. Okay? And then you came back later on another panel. I think it was of hers, so it might have been yours. And you were saying, Ness, I got that timestamp. I put it on. Have you checked my community wall? It's on my community wall. And she said, no. And you were saying, well, it's there. And you said this. Okay? She was like, yeah, I'll go listen. Okay. So I think that, you know, looking from my eyes, the way things have been going for you, I think that she gonna get your ass too. And it is what it is. The only way she won't get it if she hear different content creators. I'm not gonna include myself because I'm a small fish. But I'm like James Caldwell, Fat Babe, Pizza, Brianna. It depends on how they talk about this situation. But baby, you on borrowed time. That's just that's all I can say about that. Okay, and when we get Vivian, because I told y'all he kept calling for take his mod stick, do it now, and all that kind of bullshit. Well, before his live was over, Vivian hit the pound. And she had the pound to talk about something else. She was like, I ain't in this shit. That's kind of way she was laid back, but she didn't say she wasn't in this shit. But that's how you can tell that's what she meant. Well, Pastor told her to take the mod stick while she was on the panel. Vivian never did answer. She was like, man, you need to take the goddamn stick. Well, I got to take the motherfucking stick. That's kind of how her mood was. Child, and I was getting my life. You hear me? If you don't want to do something, don't do that kind of shit. Make him remove it. He the goddamn channel holder. Because that's real messy on that. But I've seen other content creators do that. They'll have the mod to like remove somebody they cool with mod shit. They'll call your name like he was doing Vivian and tell you, hey, Paulette, take that motherfucker mod stick. Paulette, did you take that mod stick? Paulette, why you ain't took that mod stick? Okay. And that's a kind of sting when a person that you cool with have to take it, but don't take it personal. If it ever happened to any of y'all that's newer, don't take it personal. It's not personal. But if you a mod, like the managing mod, and they call on you to do something, to do it, and don't get this all caught up in the shit, okay? And don't get caught all up if somebody take your mod stick. Don't get mad at her. All that mods are people. They take your mod stick and don't even tell you, okay? Now, if you come to work one day and you ain't got no mod stick, ain't no sense in really asking. The way I feel about it, because people are mod people and they don't even tell them. But I ain't messed up about it. I'm mod for too many damn people anyway. And I'm gonna tell y'all this shit. I told y'all how I unmods myself, and I make a big deal out of it with the person. I don't talk to them about it. I don't tell them or nothing like that. Every goddamn body that I unsubscribe to and subscribe back to remove my mod stick, they have remodded me up. They ain't said nothing and I ain't said nothing. Now that's a kick in the head, ain't it? But you see, I'm just letting you know. That's what I do. I unsubscribe and resubscribe back, and your mind stick will be gone. But then when you come back to that chat, and then I'll stay at the chat for a while, okay? And then I'll drop down maybe a month or two later, and I'll be in blue. Ain't that a kick in the head? Okay. So that let you know the content creators be knowing what their mods is doing. Because they'll notice that you are not modded up anymore, and they'll remod you back up. Now I noticed that because I did that. I'm gonna have to figure out another goddamn trick to get out of mod for some of these people. Hey, big red diva, what's up? Okay, and the reason I named this "Ooh Child" is 5 days for Easter. Are you going to church? Well, Tracy have been saying that she going to pastor church Easter Sunday, and she told us what her outfit looked like. Okay, and she been telling us as she get other pieces to wear for her outfit, because women, we accessorize, and it got to be this person. Oh, I'm looking for some shoes and all that. And you look until you find the shoe to go that you feel like it's the perfect shoe for this, and the perfect purse, perfect color stockings, all that kind of bullshit. What you gonna wear under your dress? You know what I'm saying? So she has been excited. She been shopping, and on the live, they say not, and this is what they say in that street. She did a live a couple of days ago, and she showed her shit. She showed her outfits and shit. And I said, what? Now that made a mistake because I have been redballing because I've been missing a lot of her lives. But she said her outfit, I think, is yellow, white, and I think she got black in it, like Easter colors. And I think today she said she had a couple days ago she had got her purse. She found the purse to go with her outfit, and she got her shoes and her stockings. So I got to go back through them goddamn lives, and I got to see this outfit because I'm dying to see it, child. But she says she going to pastor church on Sunday, which is Easter, with her new outfit on and shit. And on her live tonight, because she did a live a couple of hours ago, she said that she is going to go in that church and she going to sit right by pastor. Y'all know the be set ain't shit, okay? And Mama D been going all over the YouTube. Mama D, you need to stop. And now you have been you say you being neutral, but you're not, Mama D. You say you like all parties involved. You ain't gonna tell nobody what to do. Well, Tracy said that you said that the church got your Tracy picture on their website. And then she better not bring her ass in their church Sunday. So what Tracy's gonna do, she's gonna call the church tomorrow. Because she said that you also said that they had her pictures all posted around, the church and shit. She said she gonna call down at the goddamn church tomorrow and see if these people told her not to bring her black ass up in there, and do they have her picture posted all over the church and on their website. She said tomorrow when she come on, she's gonna call goddamn church so we can hear what she say. Lord Jesus, please don't let me miss the line. And she also gonna go on their website and put on there that she have been told she can't come to Easter service. And is that true or not? Okay. The pastor been saying that Tracy have been in the mental hospital. She called the name of it tonight. I don't know the name of like the mental hospitals in other states. But the damn name she called, it sound like a goddamn crazy house. Sound like a nut house. A mental institution. Some of them had them funny names. Well, Teresa said, nigga, she ain't been to no goddamn mental institution. You better cut that lie out. And she said she gonna stay on your neck, Pastor, until you shut the fuck up. Okay? She said, shut the fuck up. Leave her alone. And she keeps saying it over and over. And Pastor, now you know Teresa ain't got, Teresa, when she don't give a damn, she don't give a damn. Teresa said tonight she not only going to your church on Sunday, she's gonna make several visits. She want to know more about how you guys worship. She want to know if that might be a good church for her to go to. You never know. Okay? Because it's very few churches that turn a person down. Now I done heard of them back in the day. You couldn't go on them dressed any kind of way, like real short stuff. Like my church, you couldn't come in the church with nothing real short on. You couldn't come in the church if you were a woman with pants on. You couldn't come in the church with a dress on if you was a man. That's just real low cut stuff, real short stuff. And if you had a skirt on that's like above your knees, when you sit down, your skirt dries, and they will put something over your legs because they don't want the men to be lusting after you. Now, I'm talking about that's where I was at, church I went to. Now, some of the things have been a little bit. I'm just saying some of the things have, but not a whole lot. Okay? And I don't force my religion down anybody's throat. I'm a Christian, but I'm just saying I don't do everything that I know the teaching requires, but I'm still a work. I'm not complete yet, and hopefully I can straighten this shit out before I die. Okay, and that I'm just saying that's the beliefs I was raised with, and I do believe in my religion, but I don't follow all the rules of my religion because I know better. I know some of the things. I know what's right and what's wrong. Just like your kids know what's right and what's wrong. I know what I was taught. And I believe what I was taught. But I'm just not ready to walk that walk the way I know that I'm supposed to do. Okay? And like I say, y'all ain't gonna never get me on here with no religion and the Bible thumping and all that. I know all about the Bible. I've been up, been through it ever since I was an infant. But when you get grown, some people do grown things, and that's what I was doing. I was doing the stuff that the church was against. And so I quit participating as much because I was in it very heavy growing up. And when I wanted to do other things, I didn't like try to force it on the church because that's not my right. I get out there in the streets and do what I'm gonna do, but I wouldn't dare ever take it there. Okay, let me get off of that. How the hell I get? Oh, I got on church because of Easter Sunday. Okay, now I told you guys the other week that Lovely Love said on Pastor's panel that she was going to Jake Wilson Church too. I don't know if she's still gonna do it. I hadn't been on her channel since she made that announcement over at Lemons last week. But I'm gonna ride through by Lovely Love channel and see what she got to say about the situation. Because she was all in, child. I'm so glad I don't live there. Jesus Christ. And Tracy was singing. She was making up church songs while she was live tonight. She was going, oh, she was getting so excited. She was going, ooh, like when she was on vacation in California. But when they went to that cruise, not the last one, but the one she went on with Misunderstood, how she was screaming with glee. She was doing that tonight on her live, child. She was making up Easter songs. She was, y'all, you had to be there. And let me see what else she said. As she said tonight, the pastor, you need to stop threatening her. And she said that she could go to your church. It's not against the law, pastor. You don't own that church. You don't run it. And she said that you weren't raised properly. You were raised in the trailer park. And she said you didn't learn the basics of how to keep your teeth up. You know how to brush your gums, your tongue, and all that bullshit. She said that your breath stank and how to say your breath stank. And she said that Pastor unmodded Rodney over Ness because he's into it with Ness. I think they got something to do with it. But I think the main thing is when Rodney tested his gangster. You see what I'm saying? That's the way I feel about it. I think Rodney tested his gangster. Wait a minute. Let me scroll down. Child, yeah, I got to see. Y'all need to go see Teresa live, child. If y'all want to hear some church singing. Wait a minute. I'm trying to go down. Okay, wait a minute. She was hollering, let's go. And she was saying, ooh. And she was doing that as loud as she could. And she was saying, oh my God, I'm going to get kicked out. I know my neighbors think I'm crazy. And she wanted to know, you know, I told y'all about she going to call down and I told y'all about she going to go land. I already said about that. Wait a minute. And she says she going to go on the church website and leave a message. You know, about her not being able to attend. And she says she going to go to church and she going to worship God. She going to worship the Lord. Which Tracy, you know, she knew about the church and all that kind of shit. You know, if you been listening to her long enough, you know, she do talk about those things sometimes. It was something, yeah. And she wanna know, do they know that, you know, what you like you know, acting like you a pastor? But she want to know if them church people know that you talk about sucking penises, you talk about asses, and you talk about boo boo. Cause you know you was talking about that the other day with messing with Rico. You were trying to humiliate and embarrass Rico. And, you know, you started talking about boo boo and all that kind of shit. And she want to know, do they know how he feel about like transsexuals? She said she was just curious about a lot of this stuff. Since that's a same sex people, you know, it's a church that everybody's welcome to, but they mostly have people that have same sex lovers and all of that. Okay. But child, you need to leave her alone like she been asking you. She said that she want to see if you're gonna have a nervous breakdown before Sunday. She also want to know if Mark gonna be at church because she said she gonna hug him, you know, tell him how much she loved him in the Lord. And that's about it on that. Now, Jay Dunn, she struck Shaquem on his birthday. Well, honey, today, you know, I told her she was going to take it to the next step, to the legal step, because he said that her thumbnails were his thumbnails. And that's how come she had got struck for those 7 days. Well, she she had somebody to read a email that she received from YouTube this morning. They were saying that they was going to, in the process of doing the next step that YouTube do on the copyrights and stuff like that. Uh, and she said that she was going to go online and pay the fee to get her case going through the judicial system. So her and YouTube are now working together to get this problem solved that Shakim started. He struck her again, she said this morning, regarding her thumbnail that she made, her own thumbnail. And she said on this strike, he have his real name. He don't have that fake name or that person that he was using their identity to strike people. He not using that man anymore because CJ Dunn them got in touch with that man. He didn't have an idea that Shakim was using his name on YouTube to strike people. And I don't know what else he used the man name. So if he had permission to use that man name, why he using his name on the strikes now? Why he using his own name? Since he say that man gave him permission to do that, why did he change what on his new strike that he tried to get Jadon on? Why wasn't he still using that man name that he had permission to use? Because he was telling a goddamn lie. So we're going to see what YouTube going to do about this situation. Because, honey, I already know what Jadon going to do. And I'm so sick of people telling Jadon she's wrong. They need to stop all this striking and all of this. Shakim started it. Like Lemon had 5 or 6 strikes on 2 channels. Okay, he was off damn near half a month. Then Jadon was down 7 days because of him lying like she was using his thumbnail. And then he gonna come back and do it again, but just use his name. Jadon, stay on his neck. I know you having a ball. Do what you gotta do. And like I said, Shakim, you effed up when you mess with that girl because she will not give up. She's not gonna give up. She's gonna stay. She's gonna be a nightmare for you. And she says that she got a folder of shit that you got on your channel because you won't clean it up. And she got a lot of more strikes that she can give you. You see what I'm saying? She just catting with you right now, baby. You just a mouse. She playing with. She having a ball. You done got her adrenaline going, Jadon. I don't think you wrong. When nobody said, oh, he need to quit striking him and all that. When nobody doing none of that shit. Everybody was just sitting there looking at Jadon and looking at Lemon. What are you gonna do? And see, Lemon ain't did nothing. But Jadon said she wasn't gonna sit it. She wasn't gonna take it like Lemon take it. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy he picked Jadon. You know, because Jadon won't quit. Jadon ain't gonna quit till the judge tell her to quit. Because we ain't nowhere near that. We ain't nowhere near that. Okay? But the people that's been in the beef sector, we know how Jadon play with her food. And sometimes she'll eat her food, and sometimes she won't. Sometimes she'll eat her food and regurgitate it. So that's the kind of person she is. And I'm so glad. Shakim, that's the best thing that you could have ever done for me. Because I want to see how you going to work yourself out of this situation. I already know you ain't going to be able to work your broke ass out of the situation. Okay? And if you can't put them law, if you can't put that judge, one of them judges in Jadon's life, she ain't going nowhere. Okay? Because we done seen, honey, we know how she works. Okay? And y'all know I can't stand Jadon, but I like her ass now. You see what I'm saying? And I started liking her way before this shit with her and Shakim got going. I started liking her. And I was saying, damn, I can't believe I'm saying this shit, you know? But I like her ass. But I do. Okay? And I don't give a damn who know it. I'm telling y'all, I like Jadon. I'm going to tell y'all what Lemon said. Now, you know Snoop is mad at him and others are mad at him about the buy down game. Well, honey, Lemon made it very clear the other night that Jadon will not be bought down off his panel. Okay? He don't care who he say he don't care who sends him the money to drop her ass. He say he ain't gonna do it. Okay? Okay? And I'm saying now, Lemon, your ass already in hot water over these and making enemies about the goddamn buy down. Now, you know some people gonna get mad at you because you know a lot of your crowd don't like Jadon. Oh my God, you cutting your nose off to spite your face. That man to say he ain't gonna take no buy down for her no more. Do y'all hear me? And I want to see how the crowd is gonna take that. That he's not gonna buy her that. Let nobody buy her off the town no more. And him and Snoop, they've been cussing each other out every time they bump into each other out here in the YouTube sphere. And I've been getting my damn life. And to yesterday on Pizarro's, they had got into it. And Lemon, his mic was working good at first, and then it started messing up, you know, because him and Pizarro, they got into it and all kind of stuff. It was a good laugh. And so then him and QI got into it. His mic was messing up. And then him and Snoop got into it. And it was messing up. And then he kicked him out and all that kind of bullshit. And Snoop had a field day up there. You hear me? And also QI got to have a field day up there. And Pizarro, she got to have a field day whatever the part she wanted to do. I thought it was funny. But I think it's something wrong with StreamYard because I've noticed in the Mo3 beef sector, they are having the same issues. And that's one thing I like about moving around on YouTube. Now, I didn't go to the black sector tonight to hear Buddy Lee or anybody over there to see if they was having problems. But I know for sure with the StreamYard, the beef sector's having problems and the Mo3 beef sector's having problems. Okay? Another thing, when I woke up this morning, I think Cupcake was live or something. Yeah. And I got in there late. You know, she had been on for a while. And I like Cupcake because Cupcake, she laugh. And she make you laugh because she be so tickled all about a lot of things. And I can't think of who the lady was that was up there with her. I didn't write the name down in my notes. But they were discussing Yellow Bees. And allegedly he had put out, no, I ain't no goddamn nigga. Okay, let me tell you. They was discussing his new release that he put out. And they had gave it a thumbs down. When I left her live, I started looking around, and then all of a sudden here I'm getting these videos up of this song that Yellow Beast put out. And I was getting, you know, I mean, it was just coming up on my screen. And see, I think that the reason I was getting his stuff up today is because, like, when he got charged with murder, I had been searching, you know, his name and stuff, and looking at different interviews and different things. And he comes up now when something different come up with him. Child, I listened to that. Well, I attempted to listen to the video and look at the video and watch it. The song was so whack, I cut it off immediately. I ain't got nothing against him. It ain't nothing like that. That was some bullshit. It's supposed to be, I think, a church song. And tonight, when I was at 357s, and as I was moving around the YouTube sphere, that's what I was hearing about LB's song. He's supposed to be doing concerts. He's supposed to be doing all this other stuff. And he released the song. People been talking about it. Well, I was over at Broadway's, and he was talking about it, how it sucked, which I agree with everything that Broadway was saying, and I agree with everything Cupcake was saying. Well, and I was saying, please don't let him play this goddamn song. I know he ain't gonna play the shit. Well, the crowd wasn't giving good participation, like the people in the chat concerning the song, because a lot of people didn't know he had put his goddamn song out. It was that kind of goddamn situation. And you could tell the way that Coolin was talking on the panel, that she kind of goddamn wanted to hear the goddamn song. And I was saying, Lord, please don't play that song. And Broadway loaded it up and he put it on. And I was about to throw up. So then Broadway said, I can't take this shit no more. He turned it off. And I was so happy. And then Coolin, I got my device. You want to hear it? And he said, nah, man, But if y'all want to funds of Yellow Beezy, or if you just nosy like I was this morning, just type his name in and, his new song, you might like it. I really didn't give it a good chance, but I just didn't want to hear the shit. Especially that kind of, I think he just wrote that shit down when he was in jail and just said, I'm the same nigga. And then they was telling him, they was saying Broadway, the pastor that locked them people up in his church until they gave him $40,000 about a month ago. Well, I guess this man could sing. They was telling, Broadway was saying, well, hell, he ought to let such and such sing, which is the man that locked the people up in the church. And I don't know if it was Kareem or whoever was on the panel, or SD, but one of them said, hell, that nigga just got locked up for holding his church hostage. And Broadway said, what? Y'all, that man had locked up people up in the church. I didn't do no commentary on this. I started to, but I said, nah, I ain't gonna do that. Because I may make somebody mad. But hell, that man did it. But honey, he needed $40,000 and he locked them people up in that church. And he told them they got to break that bread. Y'all ain't leaving here. Y'all give me 40,000. Wow. Okay. Well, after they finally got loose, the ones that weren't too scared, because they would have scared me to death if I would have been in there. I would have been too scared to go to the police. I know I probably would have had 3 heart attacks. If my pastor locked us up in the church, at my church, I would die because I would not expect that out of that man. Okay? So just imagine if you in your church and your pastor lock you guys in, tell the ushers, hey, y'all get on the goddamn doors. Don't let none of them. Till I get a raise of $40,000, ain't nobody going nowhere. Including the ushers. Ain't nobody going nowhere. They come with that goddamn money and gave it to that man. And then the ones that wasn't too scared like I would have been, they went down to the police and told. And the police arrested him and they showed them arresting him and everything. But that was hell a week later. Now want to ask you this kind of question. I wonder, do he still got his church? I wonder if his ministry is attached to, like a big ministry, like my church. Because see, if your our pastors don't be acting right, they get rid of them, and they got a way to do it. It's a little process, but sometimes it work real well. Sometimes it don't, but it don't never get like, oh, man, it's time for you to get up them keys. They talk like that. They ask you nice, then they might have to ask you a little stern. Hey, it's time to give the keys up. you know. So I'm just saying that's how my church do, but I don't know how other churches do. And it'd be the big, we call them the big wigs. It'd be the big wigs that do that. You know, the little bitty wigs don't do that. Hey, doggy. Hey, Envy. Thank you for coming by. I'm up here just running my, like, who would they call it? My dick suckers. Hey, Latanya. Hey, soul sister number one. Yeah, them guys be talking to each other over in about 3 seconds. Somebody, shut your dick suckers and all that up. Let me see. Wait a minute. I want to make sure I speak to everybody. Now let me get my notes back up. See what I'm doing tonight, because I don't want to do like I did the other night. Is lose the crowd. You know how my computer might go down or kick me out or whatever. And I want to stay up on the stuff this time. Better. Okay, let me see. Okay, I talked about Jada. Sure. Now Duke. See, I didn't even get to. I don't think I got to the stroke part and all of that kind of bullshit, y'all. Yesterday. Well, the other night, SD was live. Cool. I mean, Duke is in Texas. He been going all over Texas, raising hell, calling people out. Like he called Charleston White out. And Charleston White ain't nowhere near Texas. He was in Florida on a yacht at the time that Duke was walking the streets in Dallas looking for him. Charleston White was living his best life. He ain't studying that shit, Duke. Well, Duke was talking, like walking down the street like it's the damn Westerns when they meet up at high noon and had a gunfight, at noon. He walking around up there all through the streets of Texas and getting into it with different people. I heard 3 people wind up going to jail. And it wasn't a lick passed. But see, these folks be calling the police on each other, and they might have warrants and all this kind of bullshit. It was a situation like that. He got this little fella they call Flame. And Flame been around, but not very long, because I seen him hanging around at 88s. I seen him hang around. Let me look down through this right quick. Because I'm just saying the places that I had seen him at. Wait a minute. Wait, what? The places that Paulette seen him at. That's all I can go by on it. Oh. It was like, I'm just gonna say like 3 or 4 content creators until he roosted at Duke's. Child, you talking about somebody in love with they content creator? He in love with Duke. And Duke called him his shooter. Like he's making videos. He's referring to Flame as his shooter. The man they was on Triggs last night. And he said last night that he would die for Duke's name, like protecting his name. Y'all don't get tied up on YouTube like that, please. That man, and now Duke is in Texas, and he's staying with the man. Do y'all hear me? He's staying at the man's house. Now, they said that he was going to stay until May. And we just now in the middle of April, okay? Then it was changed that he was going to stay to June. Now then they was said he was gonna stay until the first of the year, and now he says he's moved back for good. Like he's not going back to Florida. Cause see, when they first started saying that he was in Texas, they were saying that white lady he was living with it put him out. And I was in somebody chat and somebody asked him that. Did that lady put him out? And he said, "Oh no." Mm-mm. Well, I was over at SD's the other night. That was Sunday night, I think. And it was like cooling came on at a crazy time that she don't normally come on because she have children that she have to get up for school and blase this and blase that. And cooling went live and and see I had been over at SD, so I'm gonna tell y'all about what happened at SD. But I said, let me see what the hell going on here with cooling. And cooling said, y'all, I just went live because I just woke up, I was bored. And I had been over SD's, but I was backstage and he wouldn't let me up. And she said, well, let me call him. And so she called him while she was live and she said, SD, why you didn't let me up? And he was like, hell, I didn't know you was back there. Bring your ass over here and all of that. So Cooling went over there. Okay, now we're going to talk about SD's live. And this is before Cooling is, but I'm going right back to the beginning of his live. He had an all-nighter the other night. It was good. Duke was up there. When I got there late. But when I did get there, I think Lemon was on or something. But when I got there, Duke was talking about Lack and Reed. And, you know, it was SD was saying, man, they've been, you been calling them out and y'all ain't going to do nothing. And, you know, he was talking like that to Duke. And Duke, hey, I'm ready now. You know, well, before that happened, Duke said, hell, I'm laying up here with a woman, you know, which ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, people do what people do. And so then finally you could hear the woman in the background. And Duke showed like her toes and they were painted purple. And then SD, you know, his little antennas went up. He said, let me see her, Duke. I want to see what she look like. And Duke was saying, no, man. I'm just letting you know I'm laying up here with a woman. And so Duke was, you know how the guys in the Mo 3 beef sector refer to the women, like if you got a man, they refer to you as they bitch. And SD was saying, let me see your bitch. I want to see what she look like, what you working with, Duke. Let me see her, let me see her, let me see her. Well, the woman heard him calling her a bitch, and she said, I ain't no goddamn bitch. Don't you be calling me no motherfucking bitch. And you the bitch. You know, she was going back and forth with Duke. I mean, with SD. So we've figured out we're not going to get to see this lady, okay? So then Lack came and him and Duke got into it, and they was pull up, drop your addy, you know, doing that kind of stuff, and it went on and on and on, which I had got tired of because I had been looking at this shit all day. Them meeting up on panels and all that shit, them in one lead the other. See, I told you that son bitch wasn't gonna do nothing. That son bitch didn't drop no addy and there's some, you know, no location and all that kind of shit. I've been going through this for days with you guys. So, and like I said, I went over to Duke. I went over to Cooling, and then when I got back from over there at Cooling, now Duke was laying up in the bed when I left. Next thing I know, Duke was in a goddamn car. He in the back seat, and allegedly the woman was supposed to have been driving, but can't remember if I heard her voice or not, because SD was still trying to get her to turn her camera around so he could see her. But then they started saying it was Wicked Angel. They started calling other women names that they thought that was with Duke in Texas. But nevertheless, I never found out who it was. And I was getting sleepy, so I said, well, hell, Cooling up there. So even if this lie get taken off or struck, I'll get to know what happened because cooling is up there. So I got out there and went to sleep. Okay. Well, when I woke up the next morning, I'm moving around YouTube and I'm not dropping in chest. I'm just looking around and seeing what's going on, like trying to figure out where I need to start my day at. And I kept hearing stroke, stroke. Duke had a stroke, everywhere I was going. And I was saying, what? The last time I seen him, he was in a goddamn car in the wee hours of the morning. How the hell he have a stroke? Then I said, let me keep moving around. Let me keep moving around. I started moving around. And then they were saying he had a heat stroke. I was saying a heat stroke. It ain't been that hot. Because I be looking at the weather channel sometimes and I be reading and it tell like the weather in these different states and shit. And Texas ain't been that goddamn hot. It ain't been no 100 and some degrees. How the hell you have a heat stroke this time of year? I was like puzzled. I mean, I was saying a stroke. And then people saying, I'm still moving around. Then they start saying, well, it's two kind of strokes. Now, this is what a lot of these people are putting on the YouTube stream. I don't know how many kind of goddamn strokes it is. But they were saying there's two different kind of strokes. One when you have blood in your head, and one when you have a heat stroke. And I was saying, huh? I didn't look it up. I didn't Google it. And then they were saying that he had a heat stroke. He didn't have the kind of stroke. Like I had a brain bleed before. And that was, it's a name for it. I can't remember the medical name because it was a name I had never heard of. It was long. And so I would, they said, well, you had a brain bleed. And then they, did what they had to do with me. They did not have to cut my head open, which they have to do a whole lot of times, like to let the pressure out and to get their blood out. They gave me like medication through the IV. I was in the hospital like for a week or more. And I'm just saying, they wipe you, a stroke will wipe you out. Okay. Well, so, my daughter's RN, I was asking her what the name was, and she was saying, Mom, it was just a form of a stroke. What I had. But I can walk and all that kind of shit. I can do what's up with my hands and all of that. The only thing that I feel is my hand, it feel like sometimes it get cold. My right hand and then it feel like sometimes it feel like it's like a balloon. You keep blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. It feel like that, and then when I look at it, it ain't like that. It's just like my regular hand, but it's something. It had something to do with like my nerve endings. But like other than that, I'm cool. But like us other people, I mean, they them strokes knocked them out where they can't walk or nothing or can't talk. Like they be invalids. Thank to God that wasn't what I was. Mine happened when I was asleep. And when I woke up the next morning, my balance was off. It was like, how you be like something that you're walking on is very uneven, even though you're on your feet, like them floors that move, like in them fun houses and things like that. That's how I feel. Like when I would go to the bathroom, my body would like go to one side, and then I would like walk on the wall, with as to make myself stable. And then I said something is fucking wrong. And so my son's dad, like we cool, and he had been up here for a couple of days. And when I came out the bathroom and was walking back towards the bedroom, he said, "Babe, you okay?" And I said, "No." Somebody got to call 911. There's something wrong. When I got to the hospital in my city, they did the X-ray and they said, "Hey, we got to send you to like, we can't help you here." And they got the ambulance. They took me to the big city, where to like the best hospital, like for trauma and things like that. Gunshot, wounds and all that bad gunshot wounds, a trauma center. And then they immediately started doing what they had to do. And thank God they didn't have to cut my head off. Okay? Because that's the first thing they had to look at. And they say, well, what's a good thing? We think we can dissolve this, all that bloody stuff. We think we can dissolve this with medication. We're not gonna have to cut your head up right now. To be everything. We think we caught you quick enough. So that's when they started giving me the medicine in my IV and started checking on my head to see if this shit going where it's supposed to go. And everything was okay. Thank God. Okay. Thank you, Jesus, that you allowed me to stay here. Okay. And so that's the long story short on that. Uh, well, the other day, now this is the day before. No, let me get back to Duke because I was talking about Duke. And so I was just kept hearing it like different channels I was going to, and straight like that came on. And this was like in the evening, kind of late in the evening, straight like that came on. And he was laughing and he was saying, "Man, did he really have a stroke?" And this and that. And the people in the chat, there was some people saying yes, some people saying no, And then SD hit the link and he was saying, "Did he really have a stroke?" And like SD straight like I was saying, "That's what they saying, man." And then they were saying there was some pictures floating around him in a wheelchair and a picture floating around him like with an IV. Now, I didn't see them pictures. I don't know where to go to find them. Okay. And then they said that Flame guy, he had been on YouTube saying that Duke had a stroke. And so I was saying, shit. And then I was hearing out in the streets, but I didn't see this, that they said that Duke had did a video. And I said, if he had a stroke, now this is my opinion, and I am not a doctor or RN. This is just Paulette's view of it. If that man would have had a stroke, he wasn't going to be on YouTube that night. Not if he had been to the hospital. And they say he had been to the hospital because there was supposed to be some pictures of him in a hospital. And he has been back on YouTube. Duke was hitting panels all that day, but I was missing it. And he was even scratching with people that day. He was scratching with people the next day. Pull up. And then yesterday morning, I was over at YouTube cameras. He popped up on the screen. Now he couldn't hardly talk the night before over here in the Mo 3 beef sector. I think it was on Trig panel. He couldn't hardly talk, he was talking. Man, they didn't want no fade, they didn't want to do nothing, man. When he was talking about Big Reed, them running from him. That's the biggest goddamn crock of shit I ever seen in my life. This morning he was talking like he was kind of weak, and everybody was sitting in the chat and on the panel. He was telling him, "Get well, dude. Take care of yourself." Giving him that kind of love that he wanted. And the next thing I know, he had put his cash out in the chat and put a note with it. "If you want me to feel better, get my cash out." And I was saying, shut your mouth. Have y'all ever heard of a cash out making somebody feel better that had a stroke? Huh? That nigga ain't had no kind of form of no stroke. And they was lying like his temperature was like 104 or something like that. That's when he's supposed to have his stroke. I believe he was dehydrated. I believe he was like had worked himself up so, walking all up and down the street, doing this and doing all that. And then, like I say, they say now, I told y'all he was acting a fool on YouTube, a big ass fool. Well, honey, I don't have Facebook and I don't do the Instagram, like that. I just strictly relate just like YouTube. But child, they say he was acting real bad over there. Do you hear me? Ever since he been in Texas, he was acting a goddamn fool on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. But they say he was acting a lot worse on the other sites. Now, I think he overworked himself. Like he's not a young man anymore. He's not young. He's had some issues with his brain before. They say that he said that was a number two. That was his second stroke. Now I don't know if he did. I don't believe he had. I do not believe he had a stroke. They can't make me believe it. I don't believe he had no form of a stroke. Heat stroke or nothing. Plus, it ain't been hard enough for no goddamn heat stroke. Now he talking about the weather in Texas is different than Florida. Duke, it ain't been 90 some degrees in Florida, in Texas. It ain't been 100 and some degrees. Them digits got to be up there, and you got to be out there in to get a have a goddamn heat stroke. And Texas temperature is not like that. Now he was saying that Texas weather the other day, it was like record breaking. But hell, 80 some degrees can be record breaking for that day. It depends on how hot that day got, like for the record. That just because it broke a record, which I'm gonna look and see if it did break a record. I doubt it, but it could have broke sometime like in the winter, the record be broke. Well, on this day, the last time the temperature was 11 was 1901. Well, hell, or this day, the temperature was 103. We haven't had 103 weather since 1988. It is what it is, fuck. That don't mean that this goddamn hot is hot enough to have a goddamn stroke. It wasn't hot enough to have no motherfucking stroke. You got to come up with something better than. Plus, your ass said today on YouTube camera you was going for an interview. So you had a heat stroke a couple of days, a day and a half ago, and you finna go on an interview, and then you said you were effing every day. We wouldn't be that effing would be the last thing on your mind if you had a heat stroke. Even if you were able to do it, you would be too scared to do it if you had a heat stroke. You don't just climb back in the bed and start doing that and you had a heat stroke. I don't know no man that would. And I wouldn't want no man that had a heat stroke a couple of days ago. I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to do something with them. I wouldn't want them dying on me. Okay? Where he died? In my bed? Nah. Hell to the no. Fuck. Hell to the no. That's right, Tanya. Just think about it. Real low key. Am I lying about anything? Do anybody in this chat believe he had a stroke? Hey, Sharon. Hey, Lady Sparkles. He wouldn't be laying up in the bed with me. I'd be sleeping on the couch. I'd be coming through every once in a while when he sleep, putting a mirror on this goddamn nose. Is this nigga still breathing? Hey, Jay. Lady Sparkle. I'd be walking around with a hand mirror, putting it up on his nose, standing across the room, putting it under his. Hey, is that nigga still breathing in there? I'm so low down, I'd be sitting one of my grandgirls. Hey, I want you to stay all night tonight. And every 2 hours, I want you to take this mirror and put it on his nose and run out. That's how ignorant I am, child. Ooh, child. But how did he have an interview today? And he had a heat stroke a couple of days ago. Okay. Now y'all might be thinking whole different than Paulette. But like I said, I'm talking about how I feel about all these situations. Okay. I don't know if I told y'all about Mother going live the other day. And you talking about a hell of a cleanup. But let me get to that. Mother, let me go over that bitch out real quick. I got my life. Okay. Get it. Let me get to the nitty gritty like little bit big baby thing. Oh, I just made a little bit of note on this one. I didn't do the how I be, making the this one said this one said that. All I put on here from Treasure is it was a goddamn mess. Okay. It was a mess. Do you hear me? Well, uh, on the live, James was doing a cleanup, which that means he was dragging, okay? Now it wasn't too vicious. It was good, it's a good time. Because everybody like your mother drag. Well, before the live was over, he called Rodney up there. And he started I was saying, oh Lord, Rodney, don't hit that link. Please don't. And then I'm saying, go on and hit the link, Then I'm saying, oh, I hope you don't hit the link. Well, Rodney hit the link. And they started talking. And it was concerning this, like timing him out. They discussed that, and Rodney said, oh, no, everything fine. It was just a misunderstanding. I didn't think she was going to time you out because she told me before that she was not going to be timing you out, blocking you. She was going to drag the hell out of you. And I was surprised when she timed you out. And so, mother, you give mother an inch, mother gonna take a mile. So she was asking other things. And Rodney was going along with it. Now everybody in the chat we know that was pissing her off because she's very territorial and like Rodney's, that's our baby. So Ness up in the clouds, she just boiling. I'm surprised lava didn't fall on all over James and Rodney. So after he got through with Rodney, then he called for Dory. And at the beginning, at the beginning of James' life, he was saying that he was over there, grown folks in the clouds, and grown folks made it be known over on his panel. This was the first time that James had heard about it. That Dory had gave grown folks a lot of information on a lot of people in the beef sector. But see, this shit came out a couple of weeks ago over there in Ness, but it got squashed. Well, they come up over there. James called Dory up there, and she said, Dory, I need to ask you something. And Dory said, "Oh yeah, mother, whatever. Ask me anything." And she said, "Did you give ZX pastor information and his daddy information?" Now he said that very clear. He said it just like that, Count. I might have a couple of the words mixed up, but y'all get the gist of the shit. He was asking, "Did you get the?" He asked the information of Doc's pastor and his dad. And Dory, "No, no, no, I would never." And I was saying, "Wrong answer, girl. Y'all, you know we went through this shit over there in Nest 2 weeks ago. You should have just said, yeah, I gave it to him. Because ZX and already scrolled through all his goddamn texts from her, emails from her, showing that she had sent him a whole bunch of shit. And see, she was threatening to strike Ness if Ness allows ZX to show that shit over there on his channel. So ZX had already been through that with Dory. So he said, "James, I'm gonna send this shit to you, and I want you to look at it, and you tell me what it is." And James, whatever he was sending him, James was quiet. And ZX was saying, "You see that? You see that?" And he was saying, "Yeah." And so Dory got to really talking, and then she started calling out different names, child, of different people. She started calling out Kimmy name. She called Robbie name and all that shit. And when she called Kimmy name and Robbie name, I knew they were gonna hit that goddamn link, okay? Well, they hit the goddamn link. And every time one of them would try to talk, Dory was cutting them off and shit. And ZX, yeah, she's have sent me set 59 or however many. Yeah, I ain't got this exactly right now. She done sent me 59 emails with shit on all y'all over here to be sick. And he said, uh, "James, she had doxed him too. She had doxed Kimmy. She had doxed Pastor and his daddy." And says, "Yeah, uh, Pastor, I got a picture of your daddy house and your daddy, and this and that, and that and this." And he said, "Kimmy, she doxed you too." And Kimmy, that's when she had the pound. She said, "What the fuck?" And bitch. And child, they got the cussing and shit. And Dory was saying that she had made Kimmy channel and all of that. And my mouth was wide open. Dory, and then Dory said, "Oh, James, well, mother, I thought you said something about this." Bitch, you know he didn't say nothing about no motherfucking this. You heard Pastor just like I heard Pastor. Y'all was the only two up there, and James asked you, "Did you dox Pastor and his dad?" Now, how that sound like this? And you said, "No." And after you got caught up, when ZX came up there, then that's when you start calling Kimmy name, Raw B name, and some other motherfuckers' name. And then that you got mad, and then you dropped. And then later on, you was hitting all these goddamn panels over here, and you switched that shit all the way around. Like you had got double team, a dog pile, and all of that. You did not get double team. You did not get dog pile. And I don't know why you mad at Jane, because he didn't do shit to your ass. All he did was ask you, "Did you dox Pastor? And did you dox his damn daddy?" And you said no. And then you changed it later on, 30 minutes later, said you thought he was talking about Ness. That Ness didn't have shit to do with it. Well, honey, Kimmy, she told her, she said, I'm gonna get you, bitch. I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna get you, bitch. Bitch, I'm gonna get you. Hope. I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna get you. And I said, what? And I was saying, Kimmy ain't gonna go live tonight because she too goddamn upset. And plus, we don't know how long mother gonna be on live. And she didn't go live yesterday either. I mean, the day before, because we're in a different day now because she went live yesterday. And honey, when I seen that notification come up, I almost broke my motherfucking fingers getting over there. And I got there at the bit when the music was playing, child. When it first came on, very short, then it was time to start talking. And honey, Dory, you got drugged like a dog. Dory, you need to shut the fuck up. Dory, she told a whole bunch of shit that we didn't have no idea about you over here in the beefing sector, Dory. Dory, we done seen you do a lot of lying and all of that ever since you've been in the beefing sector. But the new people don't know how much you lie, and they'll believe that bullshit that you be telling folks. Because we've been knowing you was a goddamn lie for years. We just go along with you. Kimmy said that she was discombobulated listening to that bullshit over there at James. This shit that, well, the shit that ZX, she was glad ZX said it. She said because ZX and her would never be cool again. She said, but she glad that ZX released that information that they was all looking at, the public couldn't see, like the subscribers. She said, wait a minute, I got to make this bigger. Y'all, I hope I don't lose y'all. Because this shit was good right here. She said, Dory, what you worrying about her goddamn husband sending shit on him to whoever on YouTube? But you need to worry about your husband, Dory. Dory, she said that you had threatened her, Robbie, and Robbie, autistic child. She said that you was gonna put the see, we didn't know about this in the YouTube street. Let me see the name of this gang. Some of y'all might know about him, but I don't know. Wait a minute. Damn, where the trying to find the name of the gang. Damn. Well, I'm gonna just keep talking and keep I'm gonna keep looking for the name of the gang. She threatened him to put this gang on them, like if they get caught out at the store or going to the store, like when you get out your car, that they was gonna beat them up and shit. And she didn't give a fuck if Robbie's son was with her or not. Um, she told Dory, this ain't what you want, you know. And she say she tired of you walking around YouTube talking about you made her channel. You ain't made nothing because you can't make your own channel. And she saying if you did make her channel, prove it. Pick you somebody and go make them a channel. She say you said you did her before. And then they say, I found out today over there at Kimmy that you said that you had built King Roman Noodle channel. Dory, you ain't never built nobody's channel. Period. Because you can't even, You doing better this time that you come back than you ever have. And Dory, she said that Rolex is not your husband. That's a nigga you shacking with. Dory, she said that that man leave you for days and weeks at a time. And you don't have no food. You be going to the food pantry. He don't care if you eat or not. He don't care if he come home and you done starve to death after he been gone that long. She say he steal chickens and horses and all that goddamn kind of shit. She say he's a cattle rustler. She got the paperwork to prove it. Which we heard he a thief on before. You know, they showed the paperwork that he is a cattle rustler. He'll go after somebody past the late at night, and ain't no telling how many head of cows he'll steal. And see, like about a lot of them farms that have a lot of cows, they farm don't be like near their house. You know, they be like out in the country and the people might live up in a city. Or the property is so big, you know, they have so many acres with so many cows, and their house is way on the property somewhere else. It ain't like the cows walking around in their goddamn yard. The cow has to be away from the house. And like I said, a lot of times people don't live nowhere near their cow pasture. They, like I said, they might live 30 miles away. You never know. Because you don't have to check on no cow every day. And see, somebody could be broken there and stole, you know, we'll just say 10 cows. And normally, like the sale barn, that's where they go and sell cattle at. You think about it, you steal 10 cows, and we'll just say you can get $400 a piece for a cow. That's some good cash. But that's why most people brand their animal. So things like that can't happen. Like if they do go to the sale barn and sell it, the brand, everybody know they brand, so they'll come and look at, you know, when they make the sales, they have to show the brand and ID, and they make a record of the cow brand and your ID, and that's how you get caught. If you're a cattle rustler, it ain't like it was in the cowboy days. Okay. She showed like she said that Rolex was gonna kick Dory ass because see she got several PPP loans, and back in the day, a couple of years ago, Dory was passing out money like it was candy. She was trying to buy friends. One lady I think got her for like for 9,000. They was getting her for big cash over here in the beef center, but she was giving it to the content creator, trying to be their friend. And Kimmy also said, Nika, that Dory's still saying that she paid for your tea. She's saying that on different channels still, even though you saying you paid for your own dental work. Dory's saying that she gave you the money for your dental work. Now I know Lady Detroit got a lot of money out of Dory. A lot of people got a lot of money. And now see she broke, she asking for Lucy cigarettes like Shakim. We sending people requests for like $2 so she can get a Lucy. And I've seen a big Pizarro and different ones for money. You know what I'm saying? She talked about that, and she said she want her goddamn $2. She said she was hollering for ZX to tell you, Dory, that she wanted her goddamn $2 back. And Dory, child, people started sending her $2. All kind of start sending her $2 to pay your debt. And some people was even sending 20, child. You had to be there. You understand? Raw B hit the panel at Kimmy's, and she also talked about how Dory threatened her child and threatened her with this gang. It was the BF some or something. I thought I put this on there. Wait a minute. And Dory, she said that you had threatened Kimmy, you threatened Raw, and you threatened Ross' son, and you also threatened Crystal. Now, Crystal passed away, but you had all of them really scared of you until you had threatened the mayor of Detroit. He is a content creator from the black sector, and the mayor of Detroit wasn't scared of your ass, and he got in contact with some gang members, I guess, in Detroit. That's in that gang that you said you had affiliation with, that were gonna whoop their ass, and they had never heard of you. They ain't never heard of your husband, and they say they don't work like that over no bullshit. Okay, and then like throughout her dragging, Kimmy was telling KRN, that's King Roman News, he's a beef sector content creator. She was saying, I'm going to send you this, I'm going to send you this, I'm going to send you this, because Dory had been threatening King Roman News. And honey, Raw B and Kimmy loaded him up on information on Dory. He is supposed to go live tomorrow, well, today. And he's not going to shoot the whole clip, Dory. But you think Kimmy had your ass running around jumping from them bullets. King Roman News going to be on that ass too. Dory, you going to have King Roman News, Kimmy, and Raw B on you. And ZX. Now, I ain't been over there looking on that shit that ZX got, but he was supposed to be putting some of that stuff on his community posts. But Dory is not the only content creator from the beef sector that has done that. They have released a lot of information on different people in the beef sector that hadn't did a motherfucking thing to him. The first time that he busted somebody out over here in the beefing sector, that had released a lot of the beef sector people, personal information to ZX, and that was Deidre, and that's DD Loop Loop. He showed that she had sent him a whole bunch of shit. And what I was putting in mother chat, ZX, who else from the beef sector that sent you a whole bunch of bullshit? I know one. I know it, well, I'm going to say two. I know at least two. I know them sent you some shit because they done it right here on different lives. ZX, did you get that? You know, they hit the pound. ZX, did you get that? I've seen it a million times on here, y'all. A lot of times when the content creators be on these panels, they ask, did you get that? That's somebody information that they sending. Just usually I'm saying that they sending that person something. But see, I don't deal with that kind of bullshit because I don't contact nobody out here. I don't want nobody contacting me about a motherfucking thing. Because these are some dirty low down bitches and bastards on here. And it might take 3 years for it to come out, but they gonna tell it on your way. Like Dory getting done now. That shit was years ago when she was doxing everybody over here in the beefing sector to ZX. But I want to know who the next one gonna be that ZX dropped the hammer down on. Because it's been about a year and a half since he did that to Deidre. You know, he was calling her name. Yeah, she sent me this on such and such. Send me this on all of that kind of shit. And then come to find out, like the big ones that she got that we know so far were like Mother, James, you know, which is James, Treasure Lane, Kimmy, Raw B, ain't no telling who else. Because those, like I said, it was 50 some pages of emails from Dory to ZX. She was sending ZX stuff when her and Kimmy was supposed to be in code. She was sending ZX stuff on Raw B when Dory and Raw B was supposed to be in code. She was sending shit on James. James ain't never had no problem out of her. But see, I'm fooling none of these folks. We don't know each other. We all in different parts of the world. I can't. What can I do? Take you to court? I ain't gonna do that. You know, I ain't gonna threaten nobody on here. You know, I ain't that dumb. But y'all just, like I said, I pray for you. Because some people just gullible on here. They believe anything that these people tell them, and we'll never know each other. And plus, I don't want to meet nobody off of YouTube. I do not. I have enough people in my life without even thinking about wasting my money to meet anybody on here. Period. I don't care if they live in the same city or state as me. I don't want to meet your ass. And there's people that do live in the state that I live in. But I ain't gonna break my neck trying to get to know them. I'll let them know, hey, I live 20 miles from you. Or I live in the same neighborhood you live in, which I've heard people say that on here before. I ain't got time for that bullshit. Up that. You know. But let me see what else I got for y'all. How long I been on here? Almost 2 hours. Hey guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 3,000. Okay? And every subscription count. Hey, Dr. Soapy. Dr. Soapy Kimmy had a good laugh. Hey, 3,000 degrees. You know, KRN going live tomorrow, honey, on some of that bullshit he got today. I can't wait. I hope I ain't sleep when he go live. Because he'll probably put it on members only, and I'm not a member. Hey, Castro. Lady Sparkles. Lady Sparkles. Real low key. Castro, thank you for coming by. I don't think I ever seen you over here before. Well, hell, Castro, I wasn't going to say nothing about you. But since you in here, I've been thinking about you. Just be strong. This too shall pass, baby. You got a little bump in the road going right now. Okay? And we all have them. And I ain't getting into your bump or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, everybody have a bump in the road in this thing that we call life. And it just depends on how you go. You might go over that bump fast, or you might just creep over it. You see what I'm saying? And it's just a little bump. And you might have another bump on down the road. I'm hoping I have a couple more bumps before I die. They make your life exciting. The bumps in the road. Okay? But don't just lay down and let the car run over and you become the bump. No. Just ride your bump how you want to. Okay? And I'm thinking about you. I'm just letting you know you've been a content creator a long time over here. And you know that the B sector love you to death. So don't never think that we don't. Hey, prayed up. Yep, we all have those kind of times, Castro. And you still young. Hell, if my old ass thinking about getting out here, back out there in the pool, the pond, the lake, the ocean, It's a lot of fish out there. Now, if I can go out there and get me a goddamn fish, your ass can go out there and get you another fish. It's just a goddamn fish. That's right. It depends on whether you want to fish in a pond, lake, river, or ocean. Whatever make you comfortable. But don't be too scared to get out there in that next level. Make your next level better than your last level. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm lurking and looking around for. Okay. My next partner is gonna be way better than my last one. And he was a good one. Okay? He was the greatest. And I want something better than that. And that's what everybody should want. Okay? Now, when Rodney was alive, I can't remember what that was on the what happened one when Pastor took his mod stick. Because I stumbled across some more of those notes. Let me see. And Rodney was saying that, about Pastor removing his mod stick. He was saying that he didn't think it had nothing to do with this. But some people feel like it was Ness. I don't. It could have had a little bit to do with Ness, but I think that might just been a little strike against you. I think that like what the straw that broke the camel back is when you said that I thought you said you was not gonna be doing no beef sector material, and you're still doing it. And then he didn't like to be challenged like that. And that's the straw that I believe that's the straw that broke the camel back with you and Pastor. Even though even though your booty you got a cute booty on that picture that enticed that man to make you a mob. He's saying your booty ain't that pretty. Okay. So I wouldn't even worry about that, because he don't like to be challenged. And Rodney said that Pastor embarrassed him, embarrassed the hell out of him. And he tried to do that. And he also, because him and Pizza been into it too, Rodney and Pizza. But it ain't been as bad as some of these other people, okay? But he said, Pizza, you need to mind your own business. You need to worry about Diva. You need to leave him the hell alone. You got a bigger fish to fry. Okay? And then he also said that he didn't do nothing for Pastor to take his mod stick. And then he also said that shit happens to him all the time in his real life. And he said it happened to him all of his life. And I thought that was sad. And Ness and Brian, they hit the panel. And Ness said something about Pastor. Now, he be talking about Dory now. But he had met up with Dory at Popeyes. Pastor, why you didn't tell us that you and Dory was cool enough? Y'all still meeting up and eating Popeye chicken. See, y'all don't never know what these people doing on here. And Brian say, Rodney, man, you are free. And he said that Pastor's a snake in the grass. And then he also said what Pastor said, ain't no friends on YouTube. And I don't know why I'm just saying this for me. I don't know why these fools keep trying to make friends on YouTube. And then he said, Rodney said that King Kong Tulsa read his comment and Pastor went off on him. And that's what happened. And he said, which he did, he got up there and he told Pastor, he said, I wasn't talking to you. He was talking to the people in the chat, that was getting like disruptive with each other. He said he was done wrong and that Pastor, you humiliated him. And he said he don't appreciate how you did him, like in front of everybody, which I thought was bad too. I don't think that you should have handled it like that. And I think that to me he struck out because of Heidi, because they say Heidi drugged him for 10 hours the other day. And I think that Heidi had just reached her level on Pastor. And when she let loose, she let loose. And see, I don't like to get mad like that. Because see, you can say stuff to hurt people that you don't even mean to hurt. You have to be careful. Because you'll strike out at people that haven't done anything to you. But so far, Heidi haven't struck out at anybody else, like running around this YouTube sphere that I know of. Her target is Pastor. And they say she did another live, and I think it was like an hour and some long. And I heard about that through over at King Roman News. And King Roman News said to fast forward it like 30 minutes. And that's when she really started dragging really good on the last live she did. So Heidi is in a dragon mode right now. And Heidi is old beef sector, but she don't do beef sector commentary anymore. She doing other stuff like the baddies and things like that. That's her main focus, and she has got a lot of subscribers. I can't think of how many I've seen that she had because I did go to her page because I was going to watch her video, read about through it. I was going to do the 10-hour plus the other one that she did. But see, it was other stuff going on YouTube, and I didn't want to take that much chunk out of my day on that. Because, see, I can watch a little bit of that at a time, make a note, watch a little bit. I can do that like that. Because I ain't as interested, like, with Broadway them and Lemon. Now, I have been on their lives for like 10 hours. But I do be moving around into other lives that's on. I be in other lives, too. And like I said, I'm just not ready for her yet. But I'm going to get there. I'm trying to see. I think I'm getting to the end, y'all. I think I'm getting to the end. But Rodney, you'll be all right. It'll get better. Wait a minute. And KRN had said a message for Ness. He said, do not be fighting Pastor for Rodney. Make Rodney fight Pastor on his own. Because you already fighting him. And another reason that KRN said that, I believe, is because he thinks that Rodney needs to toughen up. Okay? And KRN say, which I believe too, that you should have known that you was going to have to pick a side sooner or later, especially after the last time that they got into it, Ness and Pastor, the other day. They had made up, even though they was arguing and shit and into it, dragging each other. But for some reason, Ness went over there and they kind of made up. And plus, Ness sent him a cash app. Y'all know he loved him cash app. and he was saying the this wasn't so bad and this and that. Then they fell out again. And see, Rodney, you always have said that gonna pick this over everybody. And then you did that thing about asking him about the not doing beef set to content. And so I believe that's what brought up all that going, Rodney. But I could be wrong. And then he also said that Ness should have cussed Pastor out when he came over there, acting a fool and cussing and shit. And he said that Rodney should have cussed him out when he busted him out over there yesterday in front of all his crowd. And the other day, when Pastor came on, Rico had hit his panel. And I was saying, oh. And he was already dragging Rico before Rico even hit the goddamn panel. And I think he wanted Rico to hit his panel so they could go back and forth, which they did. Rico hit the panel. He cussed the hell out of him. And he also cussed the hell out of King Kong Tulsa. And Tulsa, the reason he cussed Tulsa out because Tulsa kept getting into him and Pastor argument, which Tulsa was taking Pastor's side. And Rico was saying, don't talk to me. Leave me the F alone. I don't know you. I don't like you. And I ain't got nothing to talk to you about. But Tulsa kept on saying stuff. And of course, Rico gave her what she wanted, with your oops upside the head. And then Rico was telling him to drop the banner. And Pastor was saying, let me see what you got on. And when Rico showed him what he had on, which Rico didn't have no shirt on, which he'd be sitting up a lot. Rico be without a shirt a whole lot. I just haven't been over there, but I know how Rico used to be. And I'm sure he ain't changed that damn much. Well, he didn't have no shirt on, and Pastor said, you got to put a shirt on. So he wouldn't say, I got a shirt on now, see? And so then he told him, stand up, because you might not have no pants on. I hollered. Do you hear me? But Rico, he was fully dressed, and so he dropped the banner, and they continued to cuss him out. Well, Pastor had bought up Raymond, Mr. Raymond. That was a guy that Rico used to mess around with, and he do be over there at Pastor's. And Rico was telling him, you shouldn't even bought up him to me. We not together and all that, which they haven't been together allegedly. Now, I don't know. But the way Rico's saying it, they hadn't been together for years. And then King Kong Tulsa was saying, oh, you really liked him. I can see how your face lit up. King Kong Tulsa, you don't know nothing about Rico. You was just trying to dig and be nosy. But I'm glad, Rico been out here a long time, sister. And you ain't gonna be able to handle Rico. Okay? And let me see. I think that's it. Oh, when Tulsa went over to Rodney's after the fiasco at Pastor's, and when Tulsa got up there on the panel, Rodney wasn't in no move for no foolishness. But and Tulsa, calmed it all the way down. But she did tell Rodney that she got him fired on his off day. I laughed on that. Yes, that fool told Rodney he got fired on his off day because of her. These folks ain't shit on here. Okay. I think that's it. Let me make sure. Okay, I said enough about him. Okay, now SD tonight on 357. when 357 came up, it was an open panel. Cooling was up there. When I got there, I was a little late. I might have been in somebody else's live. I can't remember who. But I got there late. And so when I got there, Kid Coolin and Kareem was up there. I think Peaches was up there. SD came. And when he got up there, I asked him, Peaches, why was she messing with a bubble? And I mean, he was going at Peaches. And Peaches was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was saying, if you want a war, we going to have a war, bitch. And all that. And I was saying, damn, you up in the women business bad. Let the women settle this shit. And honey, that wasn't good enough for him. And he kept on picking and poking and poking. And then it even got to where he was talking about shooting. And I was like, what? Why the fuck are you talking like that? Even if they had been into it, it was no reason to take it to a war level. It was no reason to take it to a gun level. And, I was just typing, everybody was really typing. Some people, was for him. Some people was against him. I was one of the ones against him because I don't think no nigga need to be talking about going to war with no woman on here. On YouTube. And then I think that if it's two men into it, the men need to settle it. But they don't need the women to jump in it. And if it's women into it, the women can settle it. They don't need no men coming and jump. What the fuck? Now, some people were saying over there later on in this is way over later in the live. They were saying that if somebody would have did K Kira like that he would have acted the same way. Well, I beg to differ because K Kira has been into it with straight like that. And they was into it, I think, before her husband died. And then when he died, they really went crazy, okay? OG Bobby Johnson, he came along about the time. Him and K Kira was into it about the same time. But I think it was after her husband death. SD, you ain't saying nothing about no war with straight like that. You ain't saying nothing about no war with OG Bobby Johnson. You ain't talking about spraying and shooting up straight like that. You ain't said that you was going to go to war with straight like that. You didn't do that for K Kira. And she's supposed to be your sister and you love her so much. Why would you go at Peaches like that? And they say when Peaches made her laugh, she drew you. No, she drew a bubble. And so a bubble and her should have settled that. Now I don't know if Peaches drug, it was one of, no, Peaches, they say Peaches drug a bubble. And I think Sin got him and a bubble on the live. You know how people drag you. But even if they did drag a bubble, it ain't no reason talking about shooting. Unless they were talking about shooting you. It ain't no reason to talk about war. If they weren't talking about no war against you. But why would you go at a woman like that? You went at her so hard. And then you was on the panel, her and the two women was trying to work it out. Like women can do. We talk on a panel and try to get this shit straightened out. You kept jumping into it. You should have, and Bubba was telling you to shut up. And then after Peaches left, come to find out you wasn't even half-ass listening to what was going on. Because when they was talking about what was said between the two ladies, you were saying you didn't hear that And you know what they were talking about? And we was all there on that live at 357. You need to lay out that motherfucking ball, baby. But it's too late. Your head already fried. But I thought that was so wow. But like the cake here is supposed to be your favorite. You didn't go at the men for her like that. And they really was hurting her feelings about her husband that had passed. And then they done been after her since, recently. You didn't do shit. You goes over there and be on straight like that panel. You don't say, man, how come you still fucking with K Kira? You don't do that. Bobby Johnson be around here on different panels because he's very active on YouTube. You don't never see a motherfucking thing to him. And I'm active on YouTube because I be a whole lot of places. And I don't know why you was coming so hard at Peaches. Peaches don't mean shit to me, okay? SD don't mean shit to me. But I'm just saying right is right and wrong is wrong. And don't know men need to be jumping in no women shit. And don't know women need to be jumping in no men shit. That's how come shit get out of hand too. Because all these goddamn people getting in it. Let it be the two at the beginning. Maybe this shit can get worked out before it go out of control. But see, it don't we don't get to the niceties to try to get this shit settled or to come at a mutual understanding that, bitch, if you keep doing this, I'm going to do that because that's what a bump had told Peaches in so many words. Bitch, if you keep on, I'm going to have to go to the next level with you. And Peaches said, I ain't scared. I ain't doing nothing. I don't give a damn. What more can they say? But at least they know they got the meeting of the minds. And they didn't need nobody else for them to get up there and do that. They're not friends or nothing, but they talk like women. And they came together at the meeting of the minds that, hey, if you fuck with me anymore, I'm going to the next level. And Peter was saying, bitch, I ain't been fucking with you. I'm not here jump out. But okay. It was just like that. Okay. And I forgot about telling you guys that. Um, I told you guys before the SD do not like me at all. And I had hit the panel at 357. I wasn't going to be up there long. But when he heard me, because 357 had the band up, when he heard me saying, ooh, child, like I do when I get on a panel. So when I finally got up there and, everybody was talking and then SD, I'm finna go because that power it. I gotta go. SD, you can stay on the panel. I won't say a motherfucking thing to you. And like I told you, go on and go. Go on and go. Because I didn't go up there to talk to his ass anyway. I had something I wanted to share to ask 357. I'm not coming. This ain't your house. I was at 357 house. And I didn't come up there to mess with him. And of course, me and Wu got into it. I had to drag that bitch until she ran off. Okay. But I told y'all I was gonna be clowning a little bit here. I feel like clowning a little bit right now. Okay. All right. Think I don't know if I told y'all about Trigger Man. I went over there and Trigger Man last night. He had a good laugh, but I didn't stay to the end. And they said some really good stuff came out at the end. I got to get back and watch that. Um, And so Trigger Man and different one was asking that flame guy that Duke live with now, is it worth it, man? Yeah, is this all this worth it? And he was saying, yeah, it was worth it. And then he was saying, that he would die about it, like die for Duke with all them shenanigans he be doing out in the streets, calling people out, and then he be standing in front of Duke, like so he can't get shot or beat up. Man, you putting yourself all the way out there, and I really hate to see this. I don't think you got good sense for you to just say everything, and I give my life up for you. You are retarded. Okay. And Duke, he was up on the panel and he said that he had been effing ever since he'd been there, like every night. Yeah, I wonder what that reason. Is that the reason you didn't have no stroke? I ain't gonna blame that on no sex. And I'm gonna stop it right there. If I guys know, and like I said, I've been on here um, 2.5 hours, and I'm getting ready to get out of here. And y'all know I found a series because I be watching different series, and this one is named Django, and it ain't nothing like the movie Django. And I was just telling y'all, if somebody y'all want to watch something good, a good old western, very good. It was made, I think, in 2023 or 2024. I had never heard of it. I just ran up on it, you know, and so far it's good. It's right after slavery, and like the blacks like have their own town where it's mixed with blacks, whites, and Indians, and then around them is like white town, and these black people they have found oil, and it's going from their child. And I'm getting my life. I think I watched 4 of the episodes, and like when I get off of here, child, I'm getting right back on that damn Django. Hey, 2300 Jackson Street is always on. Hey, Gina. Trying to see. I seen you back in the flawless game. I was in the clouds looking at you over there last night. Now DG told you better behave. And I already know that you ain't going to. I already know that he know it too. Ooh, hey, 3,000 degrees. That show is hot. Gina knows she ain't going, but hey. He said that was the main thing, Gina, that you had to behave yourself. You got to put them other ladies' feelings into consideration, Gina. Are you going to be able to do that, Gina? I'm just asking. And if y'all haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Hey, Israel Bless. Hey, Israel Bless. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit it. Okay. I'm trying to get to 3,000. Wow. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Every subscription count. And I'm trying to get to 3,000. Wow. I'm going to be out here running these streets, but I'm getting ready to get on this series before the streets heat up. I'm going to try to knock 2 or 3 of them out tonight, episodes. And then I'm going to go to sleep. You know, I'm cutting YouTube completely off right now so I can do something else, and then I'm going to sleep. And I'll see you guys out in the YouTube sphere. Ooh, child. When people start having goddamn strokes in 80-degree weather, ooh, child. These folks be lying like a hoe, bapping like a hoe. Ooh, child. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.